Hello, and welcome to the tentatively titled podcast of tentatively the Draws or Just Draws podcast. This is going to be a podcast, roundtable discussion between Black gay men of a particular age, Gen X set. We're just going to talk about some current event topics and probably have a major discussion on a major topic today. I'm Jeff Brown. I am 48 years old, 47, about to turn 48. I'm an information technology professional, and I am in Atlanta.
And I'm Darius. I am 44. I will be 45 next month, matter of fact. And I live in the DMV area, Maryland, specifically. Yeah, absolutely. Seasoned is the word that we're going to use there. And I'm an assistant professor of writing and communications.
And while Jeff said it was Gen X, I am the last year of the baby boom. I am not a Gen Xer. I'm Sean, and I'll be 59 in a couple days. And I live in Seattle, but I also have a condo in Atlanta, so I do both coasts.
Brandon, I'm in New York City. I'm a dance teacher, gymnastics coach. Let's go.
Oh, and I forgot the part. This is Sean again. I'm a lawyer.
Oh, and I'm 40. I'm sorry, Sean.
All right. Okay, so let's get to it. So I brought up a couple of discussion topics that we can talk about today. So first up, we're going to talk about everybody's performer, Lizzo. Lizzo has been accused. There's some allegations. On Tuesday, 3 women filed a complaint against this singer, claiming that she subjected them to a hostile work environment and harassed them while they were working for them. They claimed that Lizzo made them take turns touching a new dancer in Amsterdam down to the red light district. They also say that she fat shamed one of them and that she balled her fist and said that you're lucky. So she said that they had to take one of the alligators, said that one of the complainants said that they had to get her best friend to pull her off when she did that. So Lizzo responded today. She said that she was hurt by this statement. She was hurt in a statement. And she said, quote, "Sometimes I have to make hard decisions, but it's never my intention to make anyone feel uncomfortable or like they aren't valued as an important part of the team." But some people are saying that they knew Lizzo was a fraud this whole time, that they just was waiting on something to happen. Other people are just saying that, hey, these people just got some sour grapes because they don't work for her no more. So what's your thoughts, guys, on this situation? I know it's been riding in the headlines a lot in the past couple of days. So what's the take?
I heard about this. Yeah, I heard about this story, and there was I don't know if y'all remember Charm School. Monique did this show called Charm School for all of the Flavor of Love girls, and there was one episode that like kind of lives rent free in my mind, and there was something about there's like a debate between the girls, and they had them on this stage and they were debating, and one of the girls brought up some foolishness that another girl had done, and it immediately cut to Monique, and Monique's response was, huh, what? And that was my response to all of this, especially because there's another part of that story where they're talking about somebody was eating a banana out of somebody's vagina, or we're calling it a bonus hole now.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Or that's what some people are calling it. I'm not gonna say that I'm calling it that at all, but yeah, that thing. So yeah, I don't know what to think about this. I don't know, how true it is. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going, huh. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it seems so out of character, and again, these are allegations. And
but
so
again,
going to go through the court system.
As people are going to find out, I'm very culturally illiterate when it comes to this kind of stuff. But the thing I will say is that power corrupts. And so Lizzo is all about empowerment and all of that, and about loving yourself and your body, etc. But sometimes when folks get money and power, they lose perspective. So I'm not sure what to think. We'll see whether or not any of the allegations are true. But it could be folks just trying to, get a little extra cash or something like that, or embarrass Lizzo, or we'll see whether there's any substance to the allegations or not. But for me, it's kind of like a train wreck, and it's not one of those train wrecks that I'm looking at and saying, ooh, let me see more. It's like I'm looking away and waiting to see what happens.
See,
yeah, and you make
my
a good
thing
point.
is,
Oh, go ahead.
it will be one thing if it was one dancer, but the fact that there are three, I feel like where there is smoke, there's fire.
Says the dancer.
Right.
Yeah,
We don't run around making up allegations on the people who give us our checks.
Yeah, it's three dancers, and the original or the first director of her documentary that she was doing. I don't have the lady's name, but she worked on the documentary for like 2 weeks and then left, saying it was a hostile work environment herself. So it's those three dancers plus that director. So this could be one of those things that, I kind of see it as being something that ends up being settled out of court. But I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I'm not really I support Lizzo and what she's done. Body positivity. She seems like free spirit. I don't give a fuck. But at the same time, she's got it from a lot of different ends. Conservatives didn't like her because she used crystal food. Then people were like, oh, well, she's fat. She shouldn't be trying to tell people, that this is healthy. So she's getting it from the fitness and the pretty industry. So it's a lot of things like that. People just don't like her because they just don't like it. And so it's kind of like this was just something that people already had their guns loaded and they were just waiting to just get at her as soon as this came out. And I kind of look at it from that side. And then on the other side, we've got, believe Black women. And, this is a situation where you've got, I think, 3 Black women and 1 Latina who's making these allegations. And so, in this culture that we have where we're more aware and people are more standing up for themselves when it comes to sexual harassment, this could be true. I mean, I hate it for her, but at the same time, it's something that I kind of feel like, Sean, let this kind of matriculate through the court system. We'll just kind of see how it plays out. But since it's dominated the news cycle, we have to talk about it today. All right, so moving on. In sad news, Saturday night, July 29th, O'Shea Sibley was killed at a Brooklyn gas station. He was a professional dancer. He was voguing out with his friends while celebrating one of their birthdays. So a group of men saw them, didn't like it. Things escalated, and in the end, Mr. Sibley was stabbed. They are looking for a 17-year-old suspect, and plans are to charge this assailant with hate crime. There is a visual set for him on Saturday. So this is unfortunate news. He was mentioned during, I think, Beyonce's concert, one of her concerts this week, because he was actually dancing to one of her songs when this occurred, or this actually kind of started, was the catalyst for it. So this is kind of sad. We're living in a time where we just had one of the biggest pride months, rather, in the last few years, especially since the pandemic is now over. And so to kind of come off a month like that, and then here we are, a month removed from that, and we've got a young man, successful in their life, just living and doing their thing in New York City, of all places, where you can, make it there, make it anywhere, and probably one of the most gay-friendly areas ever. Home of Stonewall. So you would think that this would be something that people would just kind of see all the time and just kind of going about their business. But this group of people just could not let it go. So what's your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, I want to add a couple of things first.
Sure.
They say they're looking for these folks because, again, how many gas stations with a convenience store don't have a bunch of cameras, and suddenly, oh, the cameras probably don't work, etc. But again, hate is hate, and you know, it's been unleashed again, and people feel free to kind of express their hatred in very physical and deadly ways. So it's like, whether or not we have the biggest pride or, you know, how much progress has been made, we are quickly backsliding, and it's being endorsed and condoned at the highest levels.
Now, there is some video of this incident. I did not watch the entire thing, but what I did see, you can see where the two groups of people were having a discussion or an argument. There was some engagement there. The group of young men that Mr. Sibley was with were shirtless, and then there was another group of people that had on clothes or whatever. They had on shirts, whatever. That's how they describe it on the news. But they're looking for a person that was wearing a black shirt and red shorts.
It was videoed. It was videoed by one of the friends. But what I'm saying is, okay, I'm sure they have much more detailed video from the actual business, and it's a question of whether or not they're going to review that and how hard they're looking for these folks. Because again, you know, black folks get killed, especially black gay folks, and there's not a lot of effort in terms of looking for them, looking for the killer. Sorry.
And that's true.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was just agreeing with Sean. I didn't have another point to kind of add to that.
Okay, no, I was gonna ask, and I'm sorry for not having done better research on the situation, but do we know what part of Brooklyn this was in? Because this story really does just blow my mind. Like,
it said it gave the streets and the whole bit. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, because you're in Brooklyn though, right?
Say it again, Darius.
I said, yeah, you're in Brooklyn,
so, right? And I'm like, I never see this happening. Like, ever. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's the part that's blowing my mind right now about this whole story, because as it was stated, you know, Brooklyn, New York City is very liberal.
We're not talking Fort Greene and things like that, though.
This is Coney Island Avenue.
Okay, out on Coney Island Avenue was long, so it stretches different parts of Brooklyn.
Yeah, but it gave, let me look, because it gave more info than that.
Yeah, this is just the first thing I looked up, so.
Like, I'm like, my mind, like, I can't imagine a place where that was the reasoning for such an assault.
Oh no, they got enough of it on video where they were telling them to stop dancing, etc. So it's like, yeah, let's see if I can pull it up.
I mean, my take on it is hopefully they will catch the people who did this, and I mean, honestly, they need to be under the jail. I have no remorse, no sort of sympathy or empathy for the person who did this to someone who was minding his black gay business, you know. And it's like, no, prosecuted and sentenced to the fullest extent in my book. There's no amount of justification that's gonna bring this person back, and it's going to make this okay. Yeah, so that is all that I have to say about it. It sickened me once I did read it, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I hope that they're caught, and I hope that that person's name is said, and that an example is set for anybody else that thinks that this is okay, or they think that this is proper way for human beings to act, not even, you know, blacks or any other, you know, nationality or any other sexual orientation. That It's not cool. Not cool.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is it's 1921 Coney Island Avenue in Brooklyn in Midwood. So
Oh, I know Midwood.
Yeah,
I'm
so
familiar with
Midwood.
Midwood. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't remember there being a Coney Island.
Well, Midwood is a heavily Jewish area. So I'm surprised to hear that this went on there. Um, y'all, I think all of y'all know of my friend Trish. She lives in Midwood, and that's the part that's blowing my mind. Like Midwood,
yeah.
nah,
So
that's all I got.
yeah, it's unfortunate, and I hope that the justice system can do us some justice and find this person and charge them as they should be charged. People, we live in this country to live as free as we can. This is probably the best, quote unquote, country to live in for gay people. And people of all the rainbow and the alphabet coalition, as far as that goes. This is the better place to be, one of the better places. So it's unfortunate, and hopefully there's some justice will be brought to that young man. And our hearts go out to that man and his family and loved ones. All right. Steering back into celebrity news. So Saturday in Vegas, Cardi B was performing and someone tossed some water on her. And Belle Callis, being the person that she is, responded by throwing the microphone back at the person that threw the water at her. There's video of this incident from at least two different angles that I've seen. So I brought this up because for a while now, as people have been going to these different concerts, people have wanted to, throw projectiles up at these folks while they're performing. Just for some just to give some context, Harry Styles had some chicken nuggets thrown at him. Someone threw their mother's ashes at Pink.
That was Pink,
yeah. And BB Rexa, actually a pop singer, she got hit by a phone. I saw pictures of it, and like her eye was like swole up. And this trend is getting out of hand. And a lot of people like to do things, for social media, and I think that's what this is coming from. But we're getting to a point where it's very disrespectful. To even interrupt the show, people's paid hundreds and thousands of dollars to see these performers for it to kind of get interrupted, and it's dangerous as well. You can injure someone, the performer or someone else, and I don't like the way this trend is going. It seems rather stupid to me. But what's your takes on this?
I'm gonna let y'all have that because y'all know what I'm saying. So
I'm focused on the chicken nuggets and Harry Styles. I would have been much more pissed off if someone had thrown chicken nuggets at Cardi B, but that's.
But then there was a point where I think in that story where it said something about she asked the audience to throw water at her.
Yeah, I did hear something about that, Darius.
Yeah, and then so then she got mad because somebody threw the drink in her face versus throwing it at her pussy, or whatever. It was that that crass, and I was like, oh, okay. So she got mad and threw it at her face, and then she said, I said throw it at my pussy, not my face, bitch, and I'm like, okay, ma'am.
Maybe they got confused.
Right, yeah, maybe that was.
but
I mean, there's
Brandon
lips,
had a reaction, so I kind of want to know what he has to say about this.
There's lips on both, so.
Right.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, that's
100%.
I'm going to the audience and fighting immediately. Yeah. Enough said.
Like, I was just thinking, would someone try this at a Beyonce concert?
Well,
no,
if they did try that at Beyonce, it's Beyonce.
and y'all know that's my cousin.
the whole hive would
Yeah, and
descend
that's what
on
I
that
would.
person.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like
So
that person would be
Look,
dead.
I would like to say I was once invited. I was invited to the Beyonce Jay-Z. What was the little TV show thing they did? I was invited by a friend of mine. I'm trying On the Run. Was that what it's
Oh,
called?
that tour, On the Run tour.
Yeah, like yeah, I don't know, 2016-ish, maybe 17, something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
about right.
And
That's about
I
right.
was invited to a friend's party if I promised to behave, because like the whole Beyonce thing for me, I'm like, yeah, she's fine. I can actually identify her visually, but it's like her music and stuff like that, I don't really know. And so this was a friend of mine who's like, he and his friends are like those really into the hive type stuff. And I'm so like, yeah, I can behave. It's like, I have nothing against this girl. I just don't get all the worship. I'm like,
I
she
wanna
fine.
I wanna hear a little bit more about this. I can identify Beyonce that you just said. Like what did
I
you
know what
mean
she
by
looks
that?
like. Like if I
Okay,
saw a
right.
picture of her, if I saw her in person, I would be able to identify her. But I'm like,
But that's it.
yeah.
Oh,
Like when they
okay.
had the Destiny's Child stuff. Again, I am older than you people. Like, so it's like, I'm like,
I mean, it'd be different if you were
Not you
200.
people.
Yeah, like it'd be different if you were 200 and you were like, all I know is Mozart and the Baroque period. I mean, like, no, you don't. It's not that. Like, you're not
again,
that much older, Sean.
she was, you are the same age as my oldest nephew. But,
Okay.
but I mean, she cute, but she was up there with other cute girls. All had their little, hair that they had bought down in Houston. But I was like, I mean, I can identify her, but like, I just don't. And
you're not gonna go to a concert and throw a chicken together, though. That's what.
oh hell no! I was at my
Listen.
place in Atlanta when Janet was there for her 2 shows and Taylor Swift. I don't get the whole Taylor Swift thing. Now I did buy a ticket to Janet when she was supposed to come to Seattle and canceled because she had that surrogate having her baby. But that's a whole nother thing.
Allegedly.
No,
Listen,
well, no,
Janet,
she allegedly had a baby. I'm convinced she had a surrogate.
put some respect on Janet and put some respect on Beyonce. Taylor Swift, we don't care about her.
Again, I'd be able to
All you
identify
need to
her,
know
but I
about
can't tell you
Beyonce is
shit about
Love
her.
on Top. Make sure you know the song Love
I know
on
that
Top
one.
and you good.
I
All
know that
right,
song.
all right.
I know that song.
So we know who Beyonce is. We know
I
she's
know.
got a couple of
We know
songs
she's
out.
got just
So
a couple. Yeah,
just a
couple
couple
songs,
out.
yeah.
She may have a tour going on right now, but
Look,
we're going to move on to the next topic here today before we get into a Beehive versus Janet versus Taylor discussion.
oh, I'm not getting into that. But again, remember this. I think this is a fruitful area because you have a wide spectrum of folks. It's like you guys know and love them. I'm like, yeah, they cool.
Listen, you give me some Kelly Clarkson, I'm all the way down.
See, again, I bought tickets to see Janet because I get Janet. Janet's only a few years younger than me, so it's like I get that. So but
what I forgot is that Jeff Beasy does love him a piece of Taylor Swift. I forgot about that.
You got a pink cowboy hat?
But I don't have any cowboy hats. But I mean, I do know a couple of Taylor Swift songs by heart. I have no shame in that. But I'm not. I like what I like. I like what I like, and Taylor, I feel like she's a very good writer. And she sings within her zone, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. All right, so moving on. Also in pop culture news, one of the biggest movies and anticipated this year was the Barbie movie. Now, a lot of people have given men that have been going out to see this movie some flack, saying that they're beta men, quote unquote. And people are getting kind of into it. I knew when I saw this trailer to it that the second I saw that Barbie logo, I said the gays are going to come out to this in droves. And it's been like a year ago. And I was one of those people that went to the movie. And I did wear some pink. And I kind of got into it. It was fun. I went with a group of people. And so we were all kind of dressed up in like crazy stuff. No big deal. Just, can have some fun. And having gone to the movies to see a couple of other movies since I went to go see that, I always tell people that are going to see Barbie because they've got on Pink. But the reason why I brought this up is that we like started out with a lot of people have been like, hey, why are these dudes going to see this movie? It's not a kid's movie, it's more of an adult movie. It's rated PG-13, I do believe, and not to give any spoilers away, but it's more of a commentary on how society views men and women, and how things in the Barbie world. Barbie doesn't need Ken at all. She can do all those jobs. And Ken's like an accessory to her. But the reason why I brought this up again was because people have been kind of, why are y'all going to see this? Why are y'all getting into it? And I look at it as one of those things where people can't have fun. There's always fun police. They kind of want to ruin things. I could have just worn a regular, regular outfit or whatever that I would normally wear to the theater, and it would have been fine. Would have enjoyed the movie just the same. But kind of getting into it kind of made it a little bit more fun for me. So what are your takes on people not necessarily going to see Barbie, but just kind of leaning into whatever their fandom is? I know when we had Black Panther, everyone wanted to wear white or some type of African-esque or Afro-future type of clothing. Running back into Beyonce, people have been going into that, leaning into her album cover and wearing clothes that kind of are inspired by the diamond bikini and the mirror ball hat that she has. So what do your guys think or thoughts rather on when people kind of lean onto these different cultural events and kind of really get into it?
Like, knock yourself out. And I'd like to point out, even though I don't really, again, Ryan Gosling, right? That's the dude's name. So again,
Yes,
I would probably be able to identify him. But I know he got his first top 10 hit in the whatever that song is, I Am Ken or something like that, I think. But I heard it on the radio this morning. I'm like,
Ryan
go
Gosling,
see your movie, dress in pink, do your thing. I think it's fine. Like, I don't get why people get exercised over people just like wanting to get into it and experience, like having the full experience and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, knock yourselves out. I think it's great.
It's like cosplay,
Yeah,
to an extent. I mean, Jeff and I have attended at least 2, maybe cons together, maybe one. Okay, yes, we've been to one together, and we dressed up for that. So I mean, I kind of think of it in the same vein as that. I wouldn't have dressed up for the Barbie movie. I haven't seen it. I didn't really have the desire to see it, but I wouldn't have dressed up for that, but I would have dressed up and kind of did dress up for like the Avengers when that came out. Actually, I had a group of friends that we were like, okay, let's all like go on opening night and let's all dress up. And we were all trying to be, a different character. But by the time the movie came out, I don't know what happened, but people, you get together and you have all these grandiose ideas and then the shit doesn't happen. But so I don't even remember who I ended up going to the movies with, but yeah, I think about it like that. And it's the same thing with the concert. I mean, it's been interesting to watch the people on Instagram show off their Beyonce concert outfits. And sometimes I don't even have to read the caption of what it is. I just see the outfit and I'm like, oh, they must be going to the concert, so because it's silver bikini and fringe and cowboy hat, mesh, cowboy hat,
mirror,
and halfway naked. I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, enjoy yourself.
As long as you're cool with me going to my like regular street clothes, I'll be cool with you going in your fringe bikini.
So you're gonna go in a turtleneck and and some black pants, and somebody else is gonna be in a fringe bra. And
I'd be like, you do you, baby. Don't be mad at me. That's all I'm gonna say.
Are you gonna be that guy on the Ellen show that they used to show in the audience that had his arms folded and wouldn't do anything else while everybody else was dancing Having a good
Again,
time running.
the Ellen. See, this is the thing too.
You can't recognize Ellen.
Oh
you know
no,
Ellen?
I know Ellen.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I can recognize Ellen, but I never saw her show.
Got you. Okay.
Like that whole dance element of Ellen's show, like I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I'll try to find a clip of the guy that used to be in the audience all the time, and he was just like standing there, and everybody else is having a good time, and he's just like stone face.
Yeah, no, that's not my gig. I'm just more like, I'm just there to be me. I'm not trying to look. I'm not trying to yuck anybody else's yum or anything like that. It's more like, I'm like, if you're into it, do it. Like, again, like I'm normally in Atlanta during Comic-Con, and I'm like, you do your thing, folks. I find it highly entertaining. I'm like, you are into it. I love it. I had a secretary once that was into like all the Renaissance fair stuff, and I'm like, get your turkey leg on, do you? I think that's great. I'm like, I ain't putting all that shit on. I just don't. Yeah, I'm like, don't be mad at me if I show up and I'm like cheering you on from the sidelines, but I'm in my t-shirt and some, jeans or shorts.
Those Renaissance fair folks, they are hardcore because that shit looks like it's heavy. And the festival starts in the spring and ends in late spring. So it's still hot.
Oh,
and I'm just sitting there like, why y'all got all of this chainmail and bustiers and hoop skirts on or whatever? I couldn't do it. But y'all enjoy. That's not my fandom. Again, like you said, I'm not going to yuck y'all. I have my own weird things that I like to do. Not necessarily weird, but just
and that's for another episode.
Black boy joy comes in all shapes and sizes, and sometimes it comes as dressing up as a cartoon or video game character. And
I ain't mad about that.
Nothing wrong with that, but that Renaissance that's a whole other thing.
I'm gonna just say y'all can have all that. Y'all can have the concerts, the Comic-Cons, all the things. I got Spotify. I don't need the crowds. Y'all enjoy.
And I can understand that. I just kind of feel like I like going to live music just for the atmosphere and to see, a live performance. I do appreciate the studio recordings better, but the live can be fun. But I'm not going to spend, a certain amount of money to go see certain performers. But yeah, I'm with you on that.
Although I will say, let a house music festival at Fort Greene Park break out, and Brandon will be there.
Oh, really? I went to one.
Whatever, but I was there.
My sister and my cousin, my sisters, met up with Sean, and Sean saw how ratchet my family really is.
Okay, all right.
We had a good time. I
was just gonna say that, but I will say we had a great time that day.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, as long as y'all have fun, that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
It was like Jeff. Have you ever been to House in the Park?
I have.
Yeah,
I'm not really a house music fan though. It doesn't really do much.
You don't have to be there for the music. It's like there's a lot to see.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's people watching. I don't appreciate house music like that, but I'm like, y'all enjoy it.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. Indeed.
Okay.
It was a great time.
Are we done with the cosplay Barbie? Because I would love to see. Look, I would like to see a mashup. I think you guys need to do like a cosplay Barbie type thing.
How would that work?
Right.
I have no idea. You need to figure it out because I'm like, like again, I'm gonna be there in street clothes.
I'm good. You can go to the next con that me and Jeff decide we're gonna go to. And yeah, you can go in street clothes, and
Yeah.
yeah, and that's fine. I don't mind. See, I don't mind. I love Halloween, so like I like dressing up when I can, and so, but it it has to be something that I'm interested in, So like when Jeff wanted to go to the con and I happened to be in Atlanta, I was like, okay, well, let's go. Well, I'll bring this outfit. And I'll just go in that. And we have pictures. We stay, I think that those pictures have popped up on my timeline.
Did you sew
every
your
year.
own costumes?
No, no. Well, Jeff kind of
No.
Jeff creates his own stuff. Like Jeff will piece together some stuff and say, okay, hey, I'm gonna be this person. But like I'll just go get like an authentic kind of cosplay thing. And I don't want to put that much thought into, okay, I gotta go get a piece here and go get a piece there. My stuff comes all together.
As long
and
as
I'm
there's
like,
a cod
all right,
piece.
yeah, right. And I'm good to go on that. Long as my danger zone is covered, we're good. And so I make sure that I think that year you were video game character.
Yeah, I was Lee Chao Lin from Tekken. So I had ordered some latex pants. I got a frilly shirt like he wears from his I think I chose the Tekken 4 costume. I already had the wig from another Halloween thing.
When you were Rio
When
from
I was
Jim and the
Rio from
holograms. Yeah.
Jim and Holograms. So all I need to do was that.
Hey, I remember
and
that Rio.
what did I do? Oh, I took some shoes that I didn't like and just painted the top part silver to match the character. So yeah, that was it. But yeah, I will assemble something.
Yeah. He's assembling the stuff. I was
yeah,
Goku, so I had the full costume and I had the Goku wig and the boot covers. So I was like, all right, let's roll. I got everything I need, and so I was the black Goku though. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that into that type of stuff to make my own costumes. I have no ability to sew or anything like that.
That's what the pandemic was for, because I learned to sew during the pandemic. I bought a sewing machine.
Oh, it's something that I thought about doing, but not so much that I was actually going to do it. But I haven't ruled it out, forever. But I may actually look into that. Sewing machines aren't that expensive, and there's plenty of classes that you can actually take to learn that stuff as an adult. So
I will send you ones. There are actually really good ones in Atlanta. It's a black couple chicken a dude, but and he does really cool stuff, because I have a machine here in Seattle and one in Atlanta as well.
All right, cool.
Now, see, where I'll meet y'all is Halloween costume. I done been all the things. I done been Mr. T with a sponge and a sock, safety pin, to what you call it?
Do-rag?
No, not a do-rag. The other one, like the
wig cap.
Oh, say it again.
Wig cap.
Well, no, not a wig cap. It's like your mom's old stocking.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you put that on your head if it's a brown one, and long
so
story
short, you had a mohawk,
and I have to sew nothing.
So Jeff is piecing together stuff. I said Jeff is piecing together stuff. You're nigger rigging stuff, and then I just go buy the real costume. All right, got it. Yeah.
Why would you say
I just show up in street clothes?
I mean, you just said I got your mom's old stocking, and it's got to be brown, and I put a sponge, and like these are household items, sir, that you have put together to try to.
All right, I'm done with y'all.
You didn't
Were you the dude at Halloween who's was like, okay, well, we're gonna put this towel on your back, and it's gonna be your cape, and we're gonna put a mask on, and you'll be Black Man, or you'll be something made up?
No, listen, my friends will tell you my costumes always hit. Always. I got stopped by the New York Times in the subway when I had that Mr. T costume on. And they were they were like, "Oh, can we get a photo of you?"
And then what was the
Well,
headline? And what was the headline on the newspaper?
I don't know. Like,
these
I ain't looking for the
these
photo.
these fools at Halloween.
All right, so that is going to wrap up our Hot Topics news cycle today. And we are back. So now we're going to move on to our topic of the week of this podcast, which was brought to us by Brandon. So Brandon wants to talk about the invisibility of Black, gay, masculine men. And I wasn't sure if you were wanting to talk about this in the context of just media in general, or are you talking about society? Are you talking about like movies, music, TV? Like what's your circle for this, Brandon?
You know, it's so all encompassing that it really just it boils down to media. Like I said, as someone who follows T.S. Madison and Funky Dineva, they both said, if you do not see yourself represented in media, create your media. And that's what I finally decided to get y'all together for us to do. Yeah, I'm over the fact that every single depiction we see of Black gay men are some feminine tropes. I'm over it. I don't care about offending anyone. I'm over it. Like, whole Black masculine men who you don't even know are fucking gay go to work, drive cabs, drive Uber, work at Subway. I mean, I'm just saying, like we just exist. And I'm tired of the narrative always being, oh, we do your hair, we get your makeup together, we get your shoes together. All those things are fine, but I'm saying, like, where is the visibility of those of us who aren't in fashion and hair?
So,
like,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was all I was saying.
Okay. So do you feel that social media does not have, say, representatives that would fit that? Like, I mean, I know that we've got quote unquote body boys, and we have content creators, quote unquote, slash OnlyFans, slash people that film their hookups for profit, who we would say, you know, for all intents and purposes, would be masculine presenting gay man. It's just that they're just in industries where they are basically just quote unquote handsome. And that's the circle that we know them in, but we don't know them as, say, hey, I am a weatherman, or you know, I'm an actor or I'm a singer. In that light, like we all know, just because like the follows or who they follow, what they're into, you know, that these social media people, you know, Instagram people and Twitter people that have, you know, 10,000 plus followers, that, you know, that person's gay and they're masculine or whatever. But are we saying that that's not the type of space that you want this visibility to be in? You want it to be more general pop?
I think you're making my point. Y'all all know that I am not Mr. Social Media. I don't know halfway how to plug my laptop in. But what I see as a typical consuming viewer, every single time there is a Black gay man he is a caricature. I'm okay with caricatures, but can we get some balance? Can we not always be a damn caricature? Like, come on.
So you don't want like the accessory that we see a lot
That part.
on our housewife type of shows where they always have their stylist or person to help them.
Yes,
You
they
know,
always have their gay in the bag.
yeah, yeah. So I get that. I understand where you're coming from with that.
We too old for that. Come on.
Is it now? Here's another thing that, and so we know those guys tend to be a little bit more open with how they present themselves. And us as gay men, quote unquote, we have the gaydar, so we usually can tell, or it really doesn't take much. They'll mention it when they're in their confessional or whatever on those types of shows. But do you think that also has to do with their comfortability of actually being out? Like we know that these guys exist. We know that they're there, but they just haven't made it to the point where I'm comfortable enough with me saying that I'm gay, but I'm in an industry where I don't want to say put my income at risk, or I don't want to embarrass my family, or there's some type of block, whatever that is. It could be a religious thing, it could be something else that stops them from actually making that journey over to that next step.
All right, I want a little context here, though.
Go ahead, Sean.
I want some context. Are we talking? Are we talking folks in real life? Or are we talking characters as well? Like, we want something between what you normally see
I'm talking Omar
Little on the Wire.
is huge now, so
and Omar Little on the Wire. Or are we talking like real life generally?
I'm talking.
I think for now, let's talk about like just real life people for now. Yeah. I mean, we can get into media, but I think for real life, that's where I'm speaking from right now.
I think in real life we don't see enough of it because enough of it is already out here. That's
well, and if you see it, even if it's like not full on cleaned out, as a general rule, it's going to be folks like Don Lemon or his name's slipping my mind. It'll come to me in a minute. On PBS NewsHour, that's I think Washington Post. Why can't I think of his name? But it's like, it's not representative of it's representative of Seattle. What's that?
Most of us.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I live this. Like, I'm not pulling this out of my ass or anything. No, I live this. And I'm tired of there being such a lack of just representation in general. I don't care if you want to do this, that, X, Y, Z, 7, 8, 9, 10. But can we just see all of it?
I don't think that
we see some of the diversity of it all.
I don't think I hear your concern for wanting to see that, but remember that there's another factor in that. The fact that you want to see more representation of people who are like you. Are there enough people who want to be represented in that public space, in that public light, that are like you?
I think they don't want to be public. I think they'd like to see the representation. Like, I can think of a lot of people who would like to see more of that representation. They're just not willing to be out there themselves.
Because that's what I was gonna ask. Like, Brandon, if you were asked to be on a show,
sure.
Okay. Yeah. Now, how many other people would say absolutely that I'm going to be on this show as the representation for the people, the masculine, same gender loving men that we don't see?
I think so much of that problem is the fact that we don't see. We don't see. Like literally, the DL Chronicles changed my life. Finally got to see men who I could relate to. I couldn't relate to, and granted, let's all put it on the table. I'm a whole dancer, whole ballet dancer who will fry somebody on a piece of Marley or on the stage, doing ballet, modern, jazz, whatever. However, that has nothing to do with the way you're represented in media. When I saw the DL Chronicles, I saw men who I could relate to. They were masculine and they were uncomfortable being out because of the lack of visibility. So maybe if we start visibly showing them, maybe some of these other guys would not have such, like a hang up, and so many more of them will feel comfortable coming out because they see that they're not abnormal.
I feel like some of those the using the example that you gave, some of those people were caricatures from the DL Chronicles. Now you could identify with their characters, but they were caricatures. Like these were DL, that was the whole purpose. It was the DL Chronicles. They were guys who were not out, but they had this, and then they had this hang up and this hang up and this hang up. That's a caricature. There, you're building all of those things in order to sell something to the masses. So while I can understand where you're coming from in terms of you'd like to see more people who function like you day to day, I wouldn't even look at DL Chronicles like, okay, that's a day-to-day situation. Like the stuff that happened there is it wouldn't be day to day for me. I wouldn't see that.
I personally disagree because I feel like the whole point of DL is because you aren't comfortable.
Right.
I spent a decade in a completely DL relationship that no one knew about. Like you're not DL for fun. You're DL because you don't feel comfortable coming out.
But see, was that you being DL or was that you being discreet? Because there's a difference. Because
it was DL. Like nobody in my life knew. Nobody in my life knew until I turned 31.
Well, that's discreet.
But at the same time, were you like, hey, I got this man, but I also have this girlfriend? Because I think that's the whole thing where the DL thing gets kind of the bad rap, quote unquote. For me,
because it's a double life sort of situation.
Yeah, it's a double life. I'm dating this woman. I'm cheating on her with these men because I'm actually bisexual. I'm not gay.
Or are you cheating on the man with the woman?
Well, yeah. Let me clarify that because
I'm not saying that's what you were. I'm not trying to get you to say what you were or not. I'm just trying to make. We got the point that were you DL or were you discreet? Because there's a difference.
I wasn't DL dating women.
Okay.
I wasn't always 100% open when I did start dating women again. But I never crossed lines.
That's discreet.
Got it.
That feels more discreet for me than DL. DL is I have a whole other situation going on over here, but I'm doing
that
this.
was never
That
my
wasn't
life.
you. So yeah, so I don't
was
think
never
that
my
so
life.
so going back to the fact of it being DL Chronicles, that was the whole purpose of the thing. It was, okay, these people have completely separate lives, but they have these secret lives that they really want to make more public, or that they want to embrace more, but they can't because of this other thing. And so the representation that you're looking for, if you're looking for that, there's plenty of that. There's plenty of those DL tropes that are out there. But if you're looking for authenticity from guys who are genuinely masculine, like, I don't know if you're going to get that. I mean, I think that it exists, sure, but I don't know that to the extent that it would make us say, all right, yeah, we're represented in that. Like, you kind of have to look for where it is. I think there's a show on Netflix. I think it's called something about the Shaws. I can't remember the complete
The
title.
Upshaws.
The Upshaws, yeah. So I've looked at a few of those now. Isn't one of the oldest son between Kim Fields and what's his name? Isn't he gay?
Oh, I'm not sure. I haven't seen it.
So
I saw a couple episodes. So I think the character is gay, the actor is not.
mhm. And
But the character is gay.
he's portrayed as a masculine gay male. Like, he
Delivery
is
driver.
delivery
As a man
driver.
who just lives as a black man
As a
in
black
the world
man,
and who
yes.
happens to just be gay.
Exactly. Yep.
Finally.
But yeah, but I'll say, look, I mean, and I actually recently had this discussion with someone that actually Brandon has met, but who struggled for a very long time, like, is unclockable, like, on every single level. And it's, I look at it now in terms of how he's evolved. And like, when we knew each other before, but when, like, we really met, it's one of those where it's like, I didn't give a shit at that time. I would have been like, oh, this really works, so I don't care what people think. I don't care, at all, because it's like, we present just as two dudes and who we are, two black men,
right?
Very cool. For him, it's like, I can't
privilege.
have people thinking that I'm gay. And I, at the time, and I'm a couple years older than he is, literally only a couple, like 3 years. But I'm like, I don't really care, because this, like, is a really good, it's a good vibe, it's a good click. And now, fast forward, 20 some odd years, and he's finally at that place where, for him, it's like, yeah, I don't care what people think. And I was like, I wish this had been you 20 some odd years ago.
Right, back then.
Because, like, things could have been a whole lot different.
It could have been something different.
But it's, but it's the time. But and it's funny, too, because it's like, he had never really dated women. And it's like, for me, it was all kind of new. And I was like, oh, but this is a good thing. I can see that this actually would work. I'm willing to say, what the fuck? Let's see if this can happen. And he was like, totally never really dated women. And he's like, oh, yeah, I don't want people thinking I'm gay. And I was like, what? Okay, we're coming from very different places.
We're other women.
Yeah, we're coming from very different places, but we have different mindsets. Because I was like, I see the potential here. I'm willing to throw caution to the wind and say, let's see what happens. You're coming from a place where, like, you really only dated dudes, but you don't want anyone to know. And you're like, I can't be out there with my business like that. And I'm like, okay. But now it's kind of like he's in that place where he's like, yeah, I don't really care. But I'm also like, yeah, but you wasted a whole lot of years in between.
Right. And so many people do. Because, like I said, and like I feel, because of the lack of representation. And it wasn't like I was, like, glorifying being on the DL. What I was saying was, the DL Chronicles showed us that all gay men were not stylists and hairdressers
But I also
and
think
the
it's
ballet dancers I worked with. You know what I
think
mean?
it's
Who
also
didn't
Black
even know about
community.
me.
But I think it's also Black community where there just wasn't that support. It's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I
There
think
still isn't
bigger
that
challenge.
support. That support still doesn't exist
No,
as a whole.
yeah, yeah.
However,
And again,
I think that our numbers at
look,
this point in 23 are like we're
look,
visible enough for people to understand exactly what the hell is going on.
but I will say this. I mean, in putting it all in context, look, I'm a lawyer for a large corporation. Like, if you aren't a close friend of mine at work, I don't talk about my personal life. It's none of your business. It's like, look, I'm already a Black dude who has been at several corporations and done well and shit like this, but I'm like, there ain't nobody in my corner. And it's like, if you are not truly like a close friend of mine outside of work, you don't need to be in my business. You don't need to know anything about me.
Same.
And
No, and
but
I
I'm
can
also not
definitely
hiding
understand
anything.
that for especially for you guys. Like, I mean, Sean's a lawyer. Darius, you're a professor. Like, I can
But
understand
but
y'all
I'm not
coming
hiding
from that
anything.
stance.
But I'm also not hiding anything. Like, it's like I don't outwardly, because again, I'm not, I don't have anyone long term in my life or anything like that. So it's like I don't really need to talk about it. But at the same time, it's like I'm like, you don't need to be up in my business, because it's like, look, I got enough to deal with being a Black dude and fighting off all of you trying to jack up my shit already. I'm not adding to it. If you're close to me, like, you know what's up, even though there's no one around and hasn't been very consciously
Come
on
on,
my part. But
Emeritus.
it's like, hey, you got it right, emeritus, baby. That's right, for a long ass period of time, over a decade. But it's, I'm like, you don't need to be up in my mix. You don't need to know me like that.
Yeah, and that's something I understand. I was at a point, like as I always say or have said for a minute, once you're a man of a certain age and you don't have any kids, people already start trying to calculate and the gears start turning and things like that. So I've worked at corporations where it would have been okay for me to be an out employee. I decided not to add that as something about my business because I just felt like it really wasn't going to make any difference as far as me doing my job. And I was okay with that. And that you could say discreet at work, quote unquote. Now, my last job, I decided, from the get go, I have no problem with letting people know that what side my bread is buttered on. And it didn't bother me. And I worked for a very open, friendly to the alphabet community company. And everything was fine. My boss was a member of the community. It was fine. I now work at a major global corporation where diversity is drilled into us all the time. And I have not officially made any type of statement or anything like that about, me being gay or whatever. But I'm okay with it. It just hasn't been like a big deal with me at this current company that I'm at. So
Yeah.
and I think too, going back to what you were saying about representation, I think too, because we still have people that can have all of those things in place, can have success, can have their masculinity at whatever level they feel is this super masculine and unclockable, quote unquote, and still just won't come out just because of other reasons. Like I said, that those blocks, as I mentioned before, could be. It could be a religion thing. I don't want to do this. It could be I don't want to mess up a future opportunity for my financials. I don't want to cut off this person potentially out of my life. And those are things that I all that I had to process myself when I officially came out when I turned 40. And I had mentally kind of
Which I
processed.
remember.
What's that?
I said, which I remember. Shouts out.
Yeah. So yeah, I went through my own process internally where I said, okay, when I do this, I have to be okay with letting everybody that does not already know this go. And if they have anything to say about it, I have to be okay with them not being in my life. And once I had made that crossover, which was well before I turned 40, I just made 40 to be the time that I did it. Everything just kind of crystallized for me as far as how I was going to go forward in my life. And for me, that meant setting up myself to be more independent so that I didn't need quote unquote anybody. And a lot of people don't get to that point. A lot of men don't get to that point where they are okay with letting go of their mom. They're okay with letting go of their grandma. They're okay with letting go of those people. And my thing is, if those people do not want to know you or will dismiss you because you're not giving them your whole self, you are not authentically being yourself to those people because you are selectively hiding that, and that's causing you to not really have the best relationship that you possibly have with them. Then what's the point? Why would you have this relationship with these people and the whole thing is going to crumble all because you are gay? That makes no sense to me.
Right.
Or you're not straight. That's dumb. Like why are you holding those people in such high regard? Why do they have so much control over your life? Just get to a point. If you need to talk to someone, if that's therapy, life coach, what have you, get to that point where you can do that at least, to find some resources so that if you do get to that point, I feel like once I've done that, once I came out, it made all of my relationships with my family better. It's still kind of weird dynamic when I go home to see my folks because I'm the one without any kids. I don't have any grandkids. So I'm kind of like an offshoot. I'm the only officially out person in my family, which I know is not true. I just haven't been able to use my own gaydar on my family to tell who is gay or who's not straight. But that's really I got my own stuff to worry about. But statistically, it's impossible. I refuse to believe I'm the only gay person.
And I think going back to all of what you're saying, Jeff, is probably one of the main reasons why we don't see as much visibility or we don't see as much representation, because we're having to contend with so many of those other outside factors that it's like, you know what, I'm already dealing with all of this shit in my life, and me representing and holding, all of the people who are like me on my shoulders is just something else that I don't even have room for on my plate. And, going back to what you said, Jeff, about, you coming out, I absolutely remember that too. And I think I called you after you officially did. And I was just like, that was like, mad brave of you to do that. And I still remember the post. Like when you posted it, I was like, okay, I remember that. And I was like, oh, wow, that was dope. I can't say that I'm there. I can't say that I've gotten to the point where I can be that, I'm that forthright with it. I don't have a problem if somebody asks, but it's not something I volunteer. It's not something that, I go, okay, yep, that's what it is. And sometimes it's weird for me when someone asks, like I'm just like, well, yeah, but that's again my own kind of stuff that I've had to deal with growing up. And it's that I wouldn't, I'm learning to be comfortable, a lot more comfortable. Day by day, I'm learning to be a lot more comfortable. And I have people in my life who make me more comfortable with that, but it's not something that I'm walking around at the parade and I'm holding up the banner and the flag and everything else. I support it, absolutely, but I'm just like not the one that's like, all right, y'all, I'm here.
I do like to go to the parade though, because it's, it happens a half block outside my condo in Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah, and everyone has their own journey. So I don't judge people for that because I had to go through my own journey. If it would, I would have loved to have been in the headspace that I was then when I was in my 20s, when I first moved out, when I first graduated. All of those things would have been great for me to have done then. But I just wasn't there, and everyone's different. And I feel like, if there was more representation, I would have felt that being, a Gen X person. But there just wasn't. But then again, I could still have had, hangups where, I may not have a good relationship with my mom after this. But oddly enough, just going back to that post, when I came out, I got all of the text messages and direct messages from cousins that I had not had any direct conversation with since, the family reunion years prior to. So I got a lot of support, and that was great. That felt
Good to
good,
hear.
and it was, and everybody just kind of like moved on. And now it's not really something that kind of, comes up. I still don't really talk about my personal life that much, but no one is asking me anymore. So when are you going to get a girlfriend? Like, I don't get that anymore, and I'm glad, because that was a question that I would dip and dodge because I wasn't ready yet, and I'm happy that it's not a thing. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but the one thing that I tell anybody that's about to come out, young, old, whatever, it's not just a one-time process. You have to do it over and over again if you choose to. You don't have to. Again, it's all about being discreet. Like I said, I don't have to tell people that my current job, what I got going on, unless I want to. I know I have the umbrella there that I can do that and go on about my business, and it's fine. No one cares. But at the same time, if I'm going into new places, I don't hide the fact that I'm gay, but I don't make a big deal of it. I don't mind wearing a rainbow flag or whatever, but it's not, I'm not going to be the first one to run out and be like, ooh, I'm going to buy this shirt. It's got rainbow on it. That's not me. And I don't need the paraphernalia for that. Man,
I mean,
I'm okay with that.
you don't need a diamond bra and the bikini. You don't need all of that.
I am not afraid to wear some gear, but wearing a bikini top is not one of the things that you'll see me in.
That's not part of the gear.
I'm gonna translate. What I think Jeff is saying is, if he had gone to Morehouse instead of like Jackson State, he wouldn't be here talking about this, because he would be doing somebody's hair in virtual reality or something like that instead.
The me that if I had been at Morehouse in the 90s, I would probably not even be here no more. I would not exist. I would have been holed out, because I would have been like, the attention would have been something new to me. And it would have been this, that, and the other.
Okay, I hear you on that, Jeff, because I think like that all the time. I'm like, if I had gone to like Atlanta back when I first graduated high school and gone straight to college there, I don't know what my life would look like, but it will probably have been a hot mess.
A hot ass mess. Like it would have been debauchery. I would have failed out of school.
Brandon would be out on Crescent. Like,
I would have been on Crescent. I heard about Crescent. I would have been on Crescent. I would have been it was
a hot mess.
Getting that attention at that age, I would not have been able to handle it. So and not saying that Jackson State had its own issues, but yeah, if I had gone to Morehouse when I was 19 years old, first
but when we were in college, it was definitely a lot different. A lot of that stuff was taboo. It wouldn't have been taboo in Atlanta, definitely.
No.
But it was, because I went to an HBCU, and it was definitely, really taboo. Like, by the time I got ready to graduate was when
Went
we
some
started
Salem,
to see
baby, but
stuff. Yeah.
but plenty of stuff went on there too, though.
Yeah, but you know what? I wasn't privy to know any of that stuff
So
other
that's
than
because you
what.
had family history.
Yeah, right, there you go. So there was some things that I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know what's happening. But it wasn't really until my senior year that we, things you started to see certain things, and it was like, oh, okay, well, wait a minute, and then that was kind of the start, because that was right at the beginning of the millennium.
Yeah, see, it's like, I went, both my parents went to HBCUs, but I went to public university right here in Seattle WA. So
Yeah. So and I kind of want to bring one more point back up. So when I started this conversation for this section, I was a little tongue in cheek. I did mention newscasters and weathermen because there's a lot of people that are in mass communications that tend to be same gender loving. And it's just one of those things. It's one of those careers that really attract a lot of non-straight people. And so I see that all the time.
Dancer.
Please play the Weather Girls. Like, I don't want any other music in here, but at this point in time, I want you to like interject. It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men. So I want that interjected, just so you know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Producer, take note. Insert Weather Girls, a snippet that we can actually afford.
Now those are two. I would recognize Martha Wash, but I'm not going to be able to recognize the other one.
No,
So
I don't know what the other one's
right? Yeah.
So I was like, since we're talking about recognition here, so yeah.
Yeah, but I mentioned that because I won't say whom, but if people that are in the Atlanta area listening to this, there's a couple of newscasters and weather people that we know that are not straight. And that tends to be, the type of dudes that, I would say were pretty masculine. So that's a rare area of representation, I feel, but it ends up being a little bit more localized, as I mentioned before, with our Instagram and Twitter type of people, because those folks tend to, social media algorithms only kind of present you. They want all of us to know the same.
Now, do I know these people or are these local?
No, these are just local. I'm just saying in general. So what I'm saying is for you,
send me their IGs.
In New York and Seattle, there's probably a nice little circle of weathermen and newscasters.
The gay news folks in Seattle are out. Seattle's a place where, but it's like you don't have that many black people.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's not a lot of black guys, but I would say that that's an area where you do get that representation to a degree, but it ends up being more localized, centralized to just those people in that region. So then they don't really see that until that person moves up to a national, Good Morning Today, this CBS type of show, where you would see that, and then those people don't always come out.
Yeah, I can think of former, like big time football players who are on national programs that
And that's the other thing. Like even with the sports, we don't get those guys.
Wait a minute. That you've what?
Oh no. There it's they.
This is messy.
There
are stories.
Oh, I was like, whoa. Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's gonna warrant backstory here.
Emeritus.
We can talk about that offline.
Emeritus. I know you know what that means. So I don't know nothing about like all that in reality. All I know is what the word on the street has to say.
That's the next episode.
We can talk about that offline. I was trying to steer us off of that when he said it. Like, let me. But
talk about that. No, I don't know. I'm dumb.
Emeritus. I don't know nothing about what you all know about.
But those sports guys, they don't come out until after they're done.
Yeah. So don't mess with my money.
Yeah. So
again, I work at a corporation. I don't. Like what they make is not what I make. I'm like, no, don't. I got to be black and male all day, every day to corporation. I'm not trying to add to that, period. Like, I'm retiring next year.
And I think that's a good point.
On,
That could actually be the subject of another conversation. Because
absolutely.
there's other people that we can talk about, that were in sports that could have been a little bit different had they managed things a little bit differently. But we may be able to come back to this topic.
We aren't talking Michael Sam, are we? Are we talking about?
Hell no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kissing and eating cake on the thing, like
I believe he's doing something overseas right now. But
good for him.
That is who I was talking about, but that could be another subject for another time.
So with that, Michael Sam,
yeah, we can talk about Michael Sam and how that. But
he's one of you Xers.
With that, I think that kind of like wraps up this subject. I think we've had everything that we needed to say for this section.
I just want to say one more thing, actually,
sure.
Quickly, Jeff. The topic, like the subject matter that we discussed is why I always make it a point, like, and like you guys come from more corporate backgrounds. I'm a performer.
Yeah.
I'm a bartender. I teach dance and gymnastics.
You're creative.
I am a creative, and with as visible as gay people are in those spaces, they're still not used to gay people like me. Like, nobody knows I'm gay until I tell them I'm gay. I can go start working in a bar right now, bag 20 women's numbers, easy. But that's not the move. You know what I mean? Like I make it a point to let people know that I am a black gay man, because I know that I'm potentially changing their narrative of what they think black gay men are. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can actually talk about that, because Jeff, I'm trying to remember, Jeff, like the party we went to in Brooklyn, and I mean, it was a fun little party, but it's like we got in, it's like it was mostly lesbians, but yeah, it's like most people probably would assume you're straight, but it's like all, like at just like standard everyday party, it's like where you've got a mix of folks, gay, straights, and everything like that. Women are trying to give you the number. There are plenty of gay dudes there, some clockable, some not clockable. You're trying to make it clear to the dudes who are not clockable, hey, we can chat. But again, there's that whole game of trying to maneuver that and get the right signals out there so people can pick up on what's going on. And that doesn't always happen.
Which is why we need said visibility, so people can understand that it's not just you. You're not the only one in this seat.
And they know that, but it depends. It's a context thing. Because again, if you're in a mixed crowd or a mostly straight crowd, it's like bartenders are paid to be flirty. It's like, is he doing his job or is he really interested? I mean, because at that point, they don't know you've got, like, you're teaching dance and all this other kind of stuff. All they know is like, oh, dude behind the bar, he's flirting with everybody because he wants tips.
And trust me, it eventually got to the point where I wasn't flirting at all. I was so over having to, like, for real, y'all, I was so over having to only experience like women coming at me constantly, knowing that I wasn't a straight man. And I'm like, yo, I'm tired of like fighting this off. Like, hell, is there a man somewhere around here who gets a damn clue? Like, but
so even with
it
the
wasn't.
financial, yeah, so even with the financial incentive to flirt, it was too exhausting for you to do that without the success.
It definitely became it became very exhausting. And like, don't get me wrong, like my coworkers knew I was, like 100% with them, so they knew. And like, and don't get me wrong, I would still, flirt a little something to get a little coin,
Mm-hmm.
but it definitely became exhausting. And like, and I just didn't want any more parts of it, because I'm like, I'm tired of, I've done this my whole life. Like, I'm tired of pretending to be a straight man, especially for other people's convenience. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, come on. And especially when I don't have any more baggage about it.
So let's do this, because this could end up being a more fruitful discussion. So let's actually pick this conversation up for the next one. I don't even know if we need to have no more than like another agenda item or two, because this one has plenty of fruitful conversation that can probably have follow-up.
I told y'all, hoes.
Yeah, but I agree.
All we had to do was talk.
I think we do have some talking points that we can revisit,
Yeah,
or delve into.
I always
a
like to
little
hear
bit
what you guys
deeper.
have to say.
So, with that, I think we can go ahead and close it up. So, final comments, anyone? Darius, you got anything you want to wrap up with?
I don't. I'm just tripping at the fact of Sean saying, I want to hear what you gays have to say. So yeah, no, I'm good.
I like
good.
you. Don't
Good.
be mad.
No, oh no, I'm not. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Sean, you and I are absolutely okay, sir. But no, this was good for the pilot,
Yeah.
good conversation there. I'm glad that we actually had we talked about some things before we got into this. But I do want to definitely put out there that the discussion that we're having about masculine, same gender loving or gay representation is not to negate or to absolve the gay representation that we have now from the more feminine or the in between, or it's not
Absolutely
to shame
not.
it's
They
not to
are
shame
allowed to
any of those
exist also.
because I am supportive and love all of them, all of us, I should say, not them, but all of us. So I just want to make sure that we put that out there too. So
I acknowledge that I stand on the shoulders of Martha and
Absolutely.
what she did down there on Christopher Street, and serving her time and all that, because they do that whole indigenous thing, and we could find one for Martha and what they did during Stonewall and shit like that.
Marsha,
that was,
you mean
Marsha.
Yeah.
Marsha? You said Martha.
Oh, did I really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Twice.
Did I
Yeah,
really?
twice. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Listen, Sean just said he's retiring next year.
Yeah, right. I don't know who Martha is, but
we're talking about Martha Wash.
Talking about Martha Wash. Yeah, talking about what she
Okay.
did. Yeah.
Marsha and what she did. He's if you guys
Martha
say so.
Walsh
I'm
sang that
like,
song.
okay. What I'm saying is like, on Marsha on Christopher Street. If I said Martha, sorry. I was like, yeah.
Twice.
So, yeah. So anyway.
And
because I actually do that is within my realm of knowledge.
All I want to say on the end is that I just want to see myself represented. And if I have to be that representation, I'm okay with it.
Okay, and I have a question when you stop the recording. So
okay, you got
not
my
for
number.
You. No, it's not for you actually, but
oh,
yeah.
okay.
All right. So yeah, we are not a monolith. So all of the whole rainbow and alphabet society represents a wide spectrum of personalities and gender representation, be that cisgender or non-binary, where we're going to have our femme guys, we're going to have our mass guys, and everything in between. And this podcast is in no way trying to shun or shame anyone that is not masculine. Where we this podcast
Absolutely
is for
not.
everyone.
And we have to apologize about that.
Yeah,
What we have to stop thinking that requires a sense of apology. Like
no, it's
no,
not. It's more of a disclaimer because
It's an
people that
acknowledgement.
listen,
Like we're
yeah,
standing on the
it's just,
shoulders
if
of
we
Marsha
don't,
and the other gays.
yeah, if we don't acknowledge or recognize that, and people listen to this, then it's going to be all kind of and nobody got time for that. So yeah, we're here for
a-holes are
everyone.
just as diverse as straight hoes.
Yes. So it's a wide spectrum. So again, thanks for listening, all of our listeners. And again, it's the pilot episode of the yet to be named Maybe We in Our Draws podcast. Again, I am Jeff Brown, and with me is again
Darius. Yeah, Darius
Darius.
Garrison. Yeah.
Sean.
Brandon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Until next time.
No,
Peace.
thank y'all.